What's up, guys? Got a knife, well, knife that's in the works anyway. This one's going to be sent to Cliff if and when he gets back to me. This one's going to be a test knife. Forgot to put my name on it, and I figured, why not send this one out for a test? It's hollow ground on a 14-inch wheel, and I'll get into some of that in a minute. It's going to have a companion pry bar, I like to call it. It's basically because if you have, say a real thin knife, real precise tip, real thin grind, and you have to use it for a pry bar, it's going to break it. Or it's going to at least damage it. So what I had in mind is to have a companion pry bar with it. So on your sheath, it would have you have your regular sheath and knife, and on top of this, you would have like your companion pry bar. So something like this, but with more refinement and a handle, and that would go on top in its own separate sheath. So then you have a pry bar, you have a knife, and each one has its appropriate uses, and you're not sacrificing cutting performance for durability. And then your knife can be purely optimized for cutting, and that's what we all want in knives. At least that's what I want. I always get these always get fingerprints on them. And like I said, it's not a perfect mirror. I mean, there's grind lines, there's scratches, there's haziness. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff in it. But this is going to be mirrored on the bevels, hand rub satin on the flats, and then a rounded mirror spine. It has jimping and checkering. And for the best part, it's going to be very, very, very thin. I'm going to try to get as close as I can to a 0. And then, if I can get it 0, I'll just send it out like that. Cliff can surely sharpen this if he wanted to put a micro bevel on it. But I'd like to get it 0, but I don't know if it's going to happen. It's hard to, this is the point I was getting to, it's hard to get this zeroed on a high speed grinder. It's 2100 RPMs. It's either on or it's off. There's no variable speed because my shop isn't set up yet. I don't have the TW90 to work with. And the finer belts you use, the more heat they create, and the more heat you run a chance of messing up the temper, which I might have already done on this one. I'm not sure. I got a little hot in this area here, and it don't take much. It don't take much at all, especially when you're grinding them this thin. I mean, it's thin, like super duper thin. And the thickest part of this is at the tip, right there, and that's probably 2 or 3 thousandths. Yeah. So it is what it is, and it takes an extremely long time when you're grinding this thin and trying to get a mirror. You're constantly having to dip it in water so it doesn't overheat. And I mean, I do it bare hand, and my hands are right here at the edge, so right in here, right like that, so I'd be able to feel any heat, and I still managed to get it hot. How hot? I don't know. It got a light tinge of just where it got a little brown right here, so I don't know if I got it too hot or not. But this is at 62 to 63 Rockwell, and it was done by Peters. So, but if I did not damage the edge, or not the edge, but the grind with getting it too hot, it should cut phenomenally well. And it's relatively thin stock. I think it's probably around 140 thousandths. Pretty high grind. I couldn't take it that much higher without risking getting it thin in here, which is very bad. I actually had one knife when I first started. It would, when you put it in the stone, you could actually move the bevel back and forth. So that's the worst case. What I found is you can take the edges extremely thin as long as your geometry of the steel, wheel, and bevel height are correct. You can go higher with thicker stock. That's just what it is. At least with hollow grind, it's more important than it is with flat. Flat, you can take it up no matter, however high you want. No matter how thick the steel is. Hollow grind, you can't. Especially with the size of the wheel. Like 8-inch wheel, I'd be probably down in here, and 10-inch would be right in there, and then 14 I could get up in here with this size stock. But if I had, say, 1/4-inch stock, on an 8-inch wheel, I could get it probably close to this height on the 14 I have on this stock. So, but then again, the thicker the stock, the less cutting performance. So it's all a balance of what you want to do with the knife, what you intend, the knife to be. I'm finding more and more as I make them. I like, how do you say it? High cutting ability, low force types of knives. I just feel it works better. I don't think you need a thick, heavy knife to do most every task, assuming the steel has been heat treated properly and you ground it properly, and you use the knife properly as well. Which is, and maybe some of the reason I'm saying this is because if I have something to pry with, I use the little pry bar. But that's just me. I don't know if it's just people really like the look of thick knives or what it is. I mean, when I say that, I mean I also like thicker knives. When I get the run after this one, I just ordered CPM M4. That's going to be my next batch. I'm going to use CTS PD1, and I'm going to use the thicker stock because I want a more of a heavy duty type knife. That's not to say they won't be ground thin. They'll still be ground extremely thin, but the overall strength of the knife will be higher than the strength of this knife, just because there's more steel, more strength in most cases. But what I like about the CTS HXP, you can run it hard, and it'll take a mirror. What I've found from my very limited experience working with it, it holds a really good edge. It's harder to mirror finish than CPM 154 at 60 or lower than that. I got this I'm assuming they, I mean I know they tested the Rockwell on it, but I don't know if it's 62 or 63 or whatever. But it's a little bit harder to mirror finish. But it seems to be adequately tough. I forget. See, I only tested them on the ones I did flat grinds on. They're thin flat grinds, but it's still a flat grind, so it's not the same thing as a hollow grind. I mean, there's obviously not as much metal in this area here, so it's not going to be strong. So I'll have to do more testing. On these knives, I'm going to keep, of each steel I do, I'm going to keep a knife. I'm going to test it, use it as my EDC, and go through the steels. And then I can keep on doing this back and forth, using like a different type of knife every day of a different steel of similar design, similar grind. Probably hollow, because just by its nature, it's the weakest. But usually takes the sharpest edge. So I want to start with, reverse engineering, I guess you could call it. I don't know if that'd be the right word for it, but start with the weakest and go from there. And then once I get through all the steels that I like, or at least I think I like, from what I heard from them, talking to other people, talking on the forums are, well, not so much forums, a forum, I should say. I'm going to settle down with probably 3 or 4 steels. That being said, if somebody has a request for a certain steel with a certain design, I will most definitely do it. I have no qualms about doing whatever basically anybody wants for the price. But I'm not going to take a hit on the price because somebody wants say CTS PD1 when I'm working with M4. They'll have to pay the difference in shipping, heat treat costs, and stuff like that. Because you send the knife out to Peters, you get 1 to 4 knots, $25 a piece, or 4 to 20 for 100. If you only do one, it's $25. Depending on the steel, it might need more belts or stuff like that. It's not as efficient, and less efficiency costs more money. I'm working and striving more and more to try to be more efficient with the stuff I do. I think I showed this in a video. This one here for a rough grind, to cut it out, drill the holes, surface grind it, round the spine, jimping and checkering. It took me, I think, 2 hours. Whether that's good, I don't know, but I think it's pretty good. Now, granted, I'm not slacking. I'm really moving. I really have to move to do that. I mean, but the way I see it is, I measure my time in seconds, not minutes, and every second counts when I'm in the shop. And I try to move as fast as I possibly can. Another thing, once I get into, I don't know, say 500 subscribers or something, I'm going to do a giveaway. I'm just probably going to make a knife out of whatever steel I'm working with at that time. And granted, I'm only at probably at like 20 some subscribers right now. That's probably going to be a while. So I'll probably work my way into M390 or LMAX or I don't know, even K390 by then. 500's a long ways away from 20, what is it, 23, 24? Yeah. So, but I'm going to do a giveaway. It'll probably be whatever steel I'm working with at that time and carbon fiber. I don't know, something cool. And then I'll do it with, just have everybody comment on the video like Jim Skelton did. And then I'll write all those write all the names down, toss them in a cup, and shake them up the old school way, and pull one out. And we'll do it that way. Not high tech, but effective. So I think that's all I got for you guys. I might put a video up tomorrow, depending on how much I get done. I don't know how much I'm going to get done. Hopefully I can show this tomorrow. Completely. The grind completely done. I probably obviously won't have the handle on because I grind them all at the same time to be cost effective. I'm really trying to keep my prices down despite what I do, what steel I'm using. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.